Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Okay, so today we're diving into BTS's legacy. And listen, we're going straight past the charts and the raw numbers. Instead, we want to uncover exactly how this monumental group fundamentally, structurally changed global culture forever. It's going to be a fun one.
I've been asking myself a pretty massive foundational question lately. What really is the exact difference between fleeting fame and true legacy? It's an absolutely crucial distinction, right? Because to really understand the impact of this group, we can't just look at the sheer noise of their incredible popularity. We have to peel that back. We've got to peer underneath the sold-out stadiums and the viral moments to see the real, foundational cultural work that's happening underneath it all.
Think of fame kind of like a noisy spotlight. It's super bright, it's really loud, and it's basically that space where everyone simply knows your name. But legacy? Well, legacy is the shape that light leaves on the wall long after the spotlight has moved away. It's about changing the actual system itself. True legacy, importantly, outlives the specific moment that created it. It's not just a memory, you guys. It's a completely new reality.
Another way to look at it is that legacy is a leftover structure. It's much like a newly built bridge over a massive river. Sure, people might vividly remember the day that bridge opened with all the fanfare and ribbons, but the real, lasting impact? That's how it permanently shifts the way people travel, trade, and connect for decades to come. This group didn't just create special, isolated moments in music history. Nope, they built completely new, permanent conditions for all the artists and the fans who followed in their footsteps.
So, what exactly are these new conditions? Well, this actually really matters to us, because it's the exact reason the music and media we consume every single day looks so different right now. Because of them, music sung in an artist's native language feels globally central, not just some fringe or marginal thing. Fandom is no longer just viewed as cheering in a crowd, it's treated as highly organized, serious cultural participation. And vulnerability, self-reflection, those are now seen as commercially powerful traits in music. They basically acted like a completely new doorway in a very crowded building, proving, there are entirely new ways to succeed.
Okay, to really understand exactly how they built this bridge, I want to share a totally mind-blowing concept with you: cultural gravity. This is the invisible force driving their entire legacy. Basically, cultural gravity is the power to make people orient themselves around you, emotionally, socially, and symbolically. It's literally like a massive planet whose sheer mass just bends the path of everything nearby. They didn't have to endlessly chase relevance or attention. They had so much gravity that the global culture simply started orbiting around them.
Let's contrast your typical fame with this cultural gravity for a second. Most fame is, well, it's like fireworks. You get a massive flash, a huge trend, and then it quickly disappears into the cold, dark night sky. But cultural gravity, that's a campfire. It emits this sustained, inviting warmth. It draws people incredibly close for genuine connection and identity. Now, fans might initially gather around this campfire for totally different reasons, right? Some for the music, some for a sense of belonging, some just for inspiration. But once they're there, they are all profoundly affected by the exact same sustained heat.
So what exactly fueled this campfire? Well, it was a powerful magnet made of 4 interlocking parts. First, the music gave people a shared emotional language. Then, the core message gave them a really vivid identity to grab onto. The striking visuals and performances, those made that identity absolutely undeniable. And finally, the fandom made it all socially real. These 4 elements basically locked together, click, 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 reinforcing each other at every single step. It worked so perfectly that singing in their native language wasn't a barrier at all. Actually, scratch that, it wasn't just not a barrier, it became a massive part of their deep, authentic global appeal.
And when all those pieces lock together, they create what we call an accumulation loop. Here's how it works. Strong work draws attention. Then, deep fan investment absolutely amplifies that visibility way beyond traditional bounds. Next, that massive visibility creates true cultural centrality. And finally, that centrality forces institutional seriousness from media and platforms. So this wasn't just your standard industry growth. It was true accumulation. Every single turn of this wheel made the next turn easier, building this unstoppable, self-sustaining momentum.
To really grasp the sheer scale of how this works, think of a local social cause spreading. It grows because people start reusing its emotional tone, its symbols, and its language in their everyday conversations in private digital networks. The initial event becomes a tool that people actually use to organize their own feelings and their own communities. And that is exactly what happened with this group, but it happened on a massive, totally unprecedented global scale. They literally became a universal tool for identity.
Now, their legacy isn't just one single achievement. It's a really robust stack of effects that completely changed the game. Artistically, their emotionally open approach massively expanded mainstream pop's capacity. Culturally, artists from entirely outside the traditional mainstream became central, radically shifting who is actually seen as universal. Socially, fandom transformed into genuine, organized power. And symbolically, by completely bypassing traditional industry norms, they permanently widened the map of what is considered globally legitimate success. It's a total game changer. So how do we know this gravity is real right now? Well, we measure the after effects. You see repetition, where they literally become the new standard for success. You see translation, where their meaning travels organically through dedicated fan networks. You see imitation, as completely new acts borrow their exact emotional and visual logic. There's expansion across all sorts of demographic boundaries. And incredibly, and this absolutely blows my mind, there's institution change. Major, deeply entrenched media and industry platforms are being actively forced to shift their entire systems just to adapt around them.
But at the absolute core of all this after effect is the audience. And hey, that probably includes many of you watching. Fandom is no longer a passive audience just sitting back and receiving content. No way. It is an active, meaning-making network that actually extends the center of the culture. You, the fans, were the true engine of this future influence. You took pure emotion, turned it into digital circulation, and then turned that circulation into permanent, undeniable visibility. You didn't just consume the art, you triumphantly helped build the bridge.
It ultimately boils down to this, and I love this quote. BTS's legacy is the set of changes they left behind in music, fandom, and cultural imagination that still shape what people expect to be possible. Remember our bridge analogy from earlier? Legacy is the steady traffic that remains, the entirely new routes that are taken by millions long after the very first rush hour of their meteoric rise has settled down. Which brings us to a final, truly fascinating thought. If true legacy lives not just in the art itself, but in the incredibly strong, globally connected relationships formed around the art, how will these newly formed, highly organized fan networks dictate the future of our global culture? The structure has been built, the rules have been rewritten, and it's just an incredible thing to think about as we watch these active fan networks continue to shape our world. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep looking past the noise and keep analyzing the structures that shape our culture.